He invents cycles and he says, holy shit, oh my God, Jesus Christ, all the time. Coach Greg and beef is on. We got this piece of shit. This guy's name is Alex Diego, and he's a wannabe coach, or actually he is a coach, and he's making millions of dollars. He lies about people. He invents stories, drama, that they're taking hella gear when they're actually not. He invents cycles and he says, holy shit, oh my God, Jesus Christ, all the time. Essentially, he just curses a lot, swears a lot, yells a lot, and says, these guys are blasting too much gear, and I'm the savior. I'm going to teach you how to do it safely. You know, I'm going to tell you how many grams of trend to blast and when to go off and teach you about blood work and make hella cash. He was on the Jubilee episode. He was on the opposite side of Hussein Farhad. He's probably made videos about Hussein Farhad. I'm certain that he is, and he's a fake natty. And so he calls people out. I had enough. He's done this dozens of times. And people have even clapped back and said, you know, I never said that. So he shows their transformation. Hey, here's the before and here's the after. Look how much bigger I am. And then he adds in a caption, 500 grams of this and 500 grams of that and this many milligrams and this many mLs and holy shit balls. Look at this cycle. Of which the guy's not even on. And so he's done that numerous times. IFBB Pro Mark Hunter Jr., he's called him out repeatedly with the receipts, but no one gives a shit. And so he's slanderous. He lies on purpose. He shouldn't be allowed to do this. And so I've decided to do something about it.
4 months of gear can do to your body. All right, bro. January 2024, 2020 pounds. Holy shit. Damn, son. And another gear transformation, bro.
And another gear transformation, broski. But is it? Is it? Because I found the original video from the original content creator, and those captions about gear weren't on there.
I'm heartbroken, so I hopped on a gram and tested her makes a trend. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
And I was like, well, maybe that's just an isolated incident. But then again, I found the original video from the original content creator, and those captions weren't there again. And then I saw that the guy in this video made a response to Diago and said, hey, that's a lie. That's not the truth. He doesn't care. He left the videos up, even though it's slanderous to this guy. And when I DM'd him, he said it has affected his coaching business. But the part that gets him is that that dude is clueless about gear and what he's talking about. He's a shill. And his advice is going to end up hurting people that watch his videos. Sums it up pretty well. This guy is taking people's hard work, taking their transformations, adding a crazy made-up cycle so he can rack up engagement, make himself look like an authority figure when it comes to gear and young professional men to take their money. Cockroach tactic to make money. He's a scummy salesman. That's all it is.
When he lies about someone on purpose and they call him out, shouldn't he at least delete the video? Hey, that's you saying I said those things of which I didn't. You added in those words. It's slanderous. It's libel. You can't do it. I'm surprised he hasn't been sued. The latest kid, and I'm saying a kid is because he called him a 17-year-old. And I was watching the video and I thought, man, I got to do a natty or not on this kid. He's 21 and he's claiming to be natural. Yeah, show me the blood work.
100% natural gear question mark. This fucker, bro.
This fucker, he calls him.
Oh, so goddamn fucked up, bro. Another TikTok kid on gear. This kid's like 17. He's claiming natty. Jesus first. Good lord. To have a physique like this at that young of an age, he's definitely blasting grams of shit a week at the very least. He's probably taking high dose test, trend, mass, growth, literally everything you can think of. It's just very unfortunate because, as you know, taking gear at this young of an age is a recipe for disaster. These kids are putting themselves at massive risk of getting shut down permanently, running to long-term health consequences taking gear at this age.
But he cares about this kid so much, you know, he's doing a favor to the world. You know, I want to help him. He's taking grams of gear, trend, test, mass, growth hormone, insulin, everything at only 17 years of age. And so I can't listen to him anymore. And so what did I do? I went to his page. I'm like, wow, I'm going to do a video on this kid.
When you are on at this age, you typically don't have the proper guidance in place. You don't have someone overseeing you, making sure you're doing everything correctly.
Oh, and you know what? I am going to help you. I'm going to oversee you. And I've watched previous videos. He's making over $100,000 a month from coaching you, from doing these bullshit lying videos. And so essentially he's scamming you out. If you like him doing this, well, that just makes you a moron. And so you should be thinking, if you're going to call somebody else, at least have the receipts, at least have some proof, at least be honest about it. Let's go and check out his channel. Bryson Gunn, he's talking about 121,000 followers, natural bodybuilder, it says. And so I'm thinking, let's see. I scroll down not very far and it says 21 natty. Below that, 100% natural. Below that, 21 natty. And so he did all this research on this kid, you know, analyzing his physique to see if he could do this natural. Like, is he a 1 in a million? Is he a Hussein Farhad or a Julian? Or is he a fake natty? And so he said, you know, this TikTok he's 17 years of age. Can't get a physique like that at 17. I mean, unless you're blasting hella gear. He literally says his age right on the front page, 21. And so is his credibility been canceled, or do you just believe him because he said so? How much research did he do? In comparison, what did I do? Well, let's see. And so I wrote, are you interested in getting your blood work done in the next week so that I could go over it in a video and then call out the guy and just say this piece of shit is lying about how old this guy is to get views, clicks, and obviously it's working, and it's working right now because even by me making a video and saying it's going to make him more popular. His response is, thanks for reaching back. Yes, I would definitely love for you to make a video going over my blood work and calling that guy out. And so he says, when should I have the blood test done by? I reached out to Algo RX. Remember, I'm working with this group and I set him up. I hooked him up with him so he could do the test right away. He wouldn't have the time to cycle off, and so we would see. Once and for all, is bro natural? I mean, we've already proven he ain't 17, he's 21, and so 4 extra years of training. And so I'm thinking, he still has an amazing physique, but he is looking highly sus. He has an incredible body, and so it doesn't look natural, but the blood test will tell the story. I mean, how many 1 in a millions could there possibly be? And the answer to that is about 8,000 1 in a millions, because there's 8 billion people on this planet. And so there's about 8,000 people that are extremely impressive that you probably wouldn't believe are actually natural. He sends me the blood work. Diego said he's on grams and grams of gear. He's on everything. First thing we know is he's not on massive doses of testosterone because his testosterone levels are normal. 435 nanograms per deciliter is perfectly normal. It's not on the high side, perhaps even a little bit on the lower side. And next, let's examine FSH and LH. Do you notice how the FSH is very, very high in comparison to the LH? 9.3 compared to 3. This is abnormal. This happens when you have azoospermia. My bet is if he were to do a fertility test, he ain't gonna get anybody having any babies. Let's just put it that way. This is atypical. It is not normal. It could be a direct side effect from formerly using performance-enhancing drugs, although not currently right now, because if he were on, for example, test, trend, and so on, his LH and FSH would be very, very low. It would be suppressed. Examining his estradiol, it's only 11. His estrogen levels are very, very low. For a man with over 400 nanograms per deciliter, this doesn't make sense. And so when you see low levels of estradiol, 11 is very, very low, as well as problems with infertility as signaled by the FSH being that high. Is this guy in fact taking SARMs or taking something that could have suppressed his testosterone, suppressed his FSH and LH previously that's caused him to be infertile right now? SARMs, these oral androgens per se, can decrease your aromatization. It can reduce your production of testosterone while lowering FSH and LH. And what I think would have happened is he would have taken the SARMs and stopped, and his testosterone would have had a chance to get back up into that normal range. Remember, it's in the 400s. It's nothing special for a man with a physique this great, but it didn't allow enough time for his estradiol levels to go up or for his FSH to come down because he would have been producing sperm again. And so very likely that recently, as in perhaps in the several weeks in the past, he was taking SARMs. And his iron saturation, 51%, notice that's in red, out of the reference range. And so when you previously used performance-enhancing drugs, for example, SARMs, it's going to take some time for that to come back down to normal. He has yet to return back to baseline. And so this is another sign that he, in fact, perhaps was taking performance-enhancing drugs. Here's the bad news, or let's call it the sad reality of taking performance-enhancing drugs. For example, MK677 or other growth hormone secretagogues. I want you to look at glucose, 105 in red. That means he's pre-diabetic. He's a 21-year-old gifted athlete. Now, I don't care how healthy you are, how many weights you're lifting, how big your muscles are, you're shredded and so on. If your blood glucose is that high, you're not healthy. Prior to doing this blood work, he was instructed he had to go in fasted so that we could do a proper analysis. They asked him, "Are you fasted?" His response, yes. Yes, I'm fasted. Upon getting the results back and me asking him, what's with 105? It's elevated. This doesn't look good. Did you in fact eat? His response, oh yeah, I fasted until 1:30 and then I ate spaghetti. I had pasta, hamburger, pasta sauce, and then 2 scoops of protein powder right before doing the test. Unless he's an absolute moron, how does he think that's being fasted? For the meal that he just consumed, which had a half a pound of ground beef, there's going to be a significant amount of fat in that ground beef. In that hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, some of that fat, it would have been digested and you would have seen it in his blood work, namely the triglycerides. But have you seen his triglycerides? It's only 69. 69! Did he in fact consume that meal? Because it doesn't point to that. If he actually consumed it,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
a fatty meal with the ground beef, he should have had higher levels of triglycerides than 69.
Nice.
Especially, bro had an empty stomach. He hadn't been eating since 8 p.m. the night before. He'd been fasting for 17 hours. 17 hours he hadn't eaten anything. He has a meal with some fat. Should have been able to absorb a lot of that fat very quickly. You would have seen his triglycerides elevated. And so, bro, why didn't you just fast properly? Why did you eat right before? Because you didn't. You lie.
You lie!
No, the movie's...
Lie!
You said you had fasted. You told the lab technician, you answered the question, fasted. You told me you were fasted. And the next day after doing the blood work, now you weren't fasted. Why fast for 17 hours only to blow it right before the test? Because you're a freaking fake natty.
You need to leave!
And so my belief is that he's not taking testosterone, hasn't taken Tren. I believe he's taken SARMs, perhaps it's RAD 140, LGD, Ostarine, as well as taking MK677. But at the time of the test, which is perhaps a week after I wrote him, he was not on it at that time. I mean, if you were told you're going to get blood work, would you be taking anything? Perhaps he stopped taking MK a month ago, 2 months ago. But I do believe he'd been taking it for a long time in the past, as evidenced by his blood glucose being elevated, as well as his fasted insulin levels also being elevated. And so I didn't mention this, but notice also in red under insulin reference range up to 18.4, he's 22.6. It's in red yet again. And so if you're looking for a test that's more sensitive than last time, you got to get the blood work. Yeah, you passed the drug test. You weren't on it at the time. You could take test suspension for 51 weeks straight, get off of it, and you're going to pass the drug test, but you ain't passing the blood work. You guys want to prove that you're natural? Show me the blood work. And remember, with no notice, you can't plan for this. So in 3 months, I'm going to send in the blood work and I'm going to prove that I'm natural. It has to be with no notice. You get the blood work done. And if you pass, you pass. If you want to get your blood work done, I've partnered with Algo RX, cheaper prices than last time. On average, they're about half the price of Merrick Health. And so unless you're a rich guy, you don't care about wasting money, I suggest you go and click on Algo RX, click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. And remember, if you're interested in clomiphene or things like Cialis for better pumps or to have better sexy time than last time, or you're interested in telmisartan, for example, higher blood pressure, for all your medical needs, prescribed by a doctor, all legal, pharma grade, cheap prices, now you know where to go. Click the link in the description. And so if you're interested in Turk build Max, you're staying natural, you're looking to make gains and not fail your blood work, you know where to go. Code Greg, 15% off. And so if you want an actual coach that knows what he's doing, it's Coach Greg. It's not this guy that's scamming you to try to get you to follow on his channel, to make up lies about other people. And so if you're interested in getting a coach, reduced prices, cheaper than last time. And so if you want to become one of the guys that I'm coaching, remember we're having weekly phone calls where you talk with Coach Greg. I was on one last night from 6 till 6:45. I was at my niece's birthday party. Hey, I'm taking time to talk to my clients to help you, to give you the guidance that you need. And so if you're interested, apply by clicking the link in the description right now. Interested in the cookbooks, the Circle Diet Book, training books, and also for momentous apparel, you can get that by clicking the link in the description. Remember, if you're interested in any of the supplements that I sell, it's code Greg for 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like this video if you did in fact like it. Don't forget to watch at least one of those two bloops right there. And until next time, I am out.